Good morning. Today I'm going to discuss about arrays concept. Can anyone say that what do you mean by an array? In the previous class I have discussed about the array. So I want to know what definition of an array. Can anyone explain that what is an array?
Set of similar items.
Sorry, pardon me. Can you repeat once again?
Set of similar items.
A set of similar items or collection of similar data. Now I'm going to show for you collection, array objects. Okay, where we are, how you are going to have in the sense, like example, this is your array box. Okay, this is your student. In this array index, hello. Oh, sorry. Whether it is visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I have an array with the index of 0. In this index 0, I have to store the details of one student. So I have to create another one object. In this, I'm going to store one student ID and name. So this address will be storing in this particular index. Another one index I'm going to create. Here I'm going to create another one array object. Here it is going to store another one student details like ID, name. I have to create it. So address of this, it is going to be stored in this particular index, AR of 1. The same way, if I want to create another index, so it is going to create another one student details and name, and it is going, the address of this particular object is going to store it in the AR of 2, some hash 6306. Like this. So now I'm going to explain for you how the array of objects are going to be get created. How the array of objects are going to be get created. Okay, now what I'm going to do? Now first I'm going to create a students class. In the students class, I want to generate a ID and name of the student. So what I'll do? I'll create int ID. Okay. String name. That's it. Where I'm going to create ID and name of the students. How I'm going to initialize these values in the sense, using the constructor, I'm going to initialize the values. Can anyone say the syntax of the constructor? Can anyone say me what is the syntax of constructor? Prakriti.
Yes, sir.
Shruti. Can you say me the syntax of constructor?
Yes, sir. Access specifier
Access specifier.
and then the class name,
Class name is what?
students.
Yes. Students.
And then in the parenthesis, sir.
Parenthesis. Okay, this will be your default. If I want to make use of a parameterized constructor, then you have to pass a parameters within this parenthesis. Okay. Now, if I want to initialize the values in this constructor, must and should I need to have a parameter. So what I'll do, int SID, comma, string name, I will write it. So what I'll do within this constructor, where ID is equal to SID, where name is equal to name. That's it. Okay. Now what I'm doing, Now I have taken the values from the constructor. Now just I want to display the values which you have initialized to the ID and name. So if I want to print the values, can anyone say me what is the signature of method declaration? If I want to, my method name is display. Now I want to declare a method. Trupti?
So the data type of method, like
Your voice is not audible, Trupti.
return type of the methods, like return data type of the method.
Do we have any access specifier first?
No, sir.
First, access specifier. Now we have to specify the return type. If you have any return type, you have to specify that particular data type. If you don't have any return type, what we have to specify here?
Void.
Void and method name. My method name is display. So I have written the method. Now what I'm going to do now, I'll display the student name and ID. So what I'll do? What is the method to print the data on the console? Or what is the statement? System.out.println. Okay. Now I want to print the student details. So what I'll do? Student ID is colon double quotes plus ID plus double quotes. Now what I have to specify? I have to give a space, then plus double quotes, student name is colon space plus name. Okay, and give a semicolon. That's it. Somewhere it went wrong. Okay. System.out.println. Now this I have written. Now this is the class which I have working on it. Now save this class. Now you have to create an array of objects. Now I'll explain for you how to create an array of objects. So now I'll create a class called tester students. Now I'll include static void main and finish it. Okay. Now, do anyone have an idea how to create an array of objects like for students class? For students class, I have to create an array. Do anyone have an idea how to create an array for students class?
So students
Exactly. Students, open and close parenthesis, and the reference variable of your students. Okay. AR is equal to new students of 2. I want to create only 2 objects for the students class. So I have created. Now do anyone have an idea how to create an object for that? So what I'll do, I have created 2 objects like 0, 1. 0 index and 1 index. So AR of 0 is equal to new students. Open the parenthesis. Now you have to pass a parameter. What is the parameter? What are the 2 different types of parameters we have to pass?
integer and string.
Integer and string. So what I'll do, I'll pass one as an 1, 2, 3, comma. Another one name, I'll pass it as a Prakriti. Okay, this is the one. one creating of your array object. Now second, the same, I have to create another one array of object is equal to new students of 5, 6, 7. Sorry, it is of a string type. Sorry, 5, 6, 7, comma. I have to pass a name. Okay, I'll specify. And I'll give a semicolon. That's it. This is how we are going to create two objects. Now I have to display these two objects data on the console. How should I access it? How should I access it? I want to display, I want to call display method here. How should I call? Okay, don't bother. Just you can create AR of 0 dot. AR of 0 dot. Automatically you're going to get different methods here of your students class. In that you can select which method you want to call. So display method I want to call, so I'm calling display method. That's it. The same way, if I want to call for AR of 1 dot display, then it is going to be executed. Save your file and just run. How it works, you can have a look on it. Now you can check it out. Student ID is 1, 2, 3 and student name is Prakriti. AR of 1, again 5, 6, 7, student name is Trupti. This is how we can create an array of objects for your classes. Is it clear? Have you understood for everyone? Do anyone have a doubts? I'm asking for you people. Ashes?
Understood, sir.
Ranjit? Suman?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jayant? Rakshita?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now I'll move to the next topic. For each loop. Can anyone say that what is the structure of for loop? What is the structure of for loop?
For keywords,
For keyword, okay.
left axis,
Huh.
initialization, then the
Initialization.
then the condition,
Okay, condition I can take I greater than I less than or equal to 10. Okay.
the updations.
Updations. This is how we used to work with your for loop. The same way for this we have another one alternative loop which is known as for each loop. For each loop. In this we are not going to make use of any termination, initialization, incrementing or decrement or termination condition. Okay. Especially these loops are good. For each loop is used for your arrays. Okay, arrays. How we are going to use in the sense, we are going to make use of for keyword and one local variable we have to declare. So if you are using your integer data, if you want to extract the values of an array, it is of int data type. So you have to specify int and one local variable a colon and array reference variable name you have to specify here. Array reference variable name. Open your parenthesis, close it. If you want to perform any operation with this particular variable, you can perform it. or else directly you can print it on the screen. System.out.println. Okay, and you can declare A. That's it. So what is going to be happen here in the sense, like example, here we have an array. How many variables I can store in this particular array? My array name is AR.
6.
The index starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I'm going to store here, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. Now I want to extract all these values. So what I'm going to do here, for, can anyone say what type of data it is? The data which is represented in the boxes. What type of data? What type of data? Int, A, and AR. So you have to create, you have to pass your array reference variable here. So I want to print the data. So I'll create SOP system.out.println and A. So what is going to be happen here in the sense, when I'm executing this, I won't look any initialization, termination, or incrementing. IR, okay, IR. It will check AR of 0, it is 10. It will pick 10 and it will store it in the variable called A. It will store it in the variable called A. Now it will enter into this loop. It will perform the operation. The operation here is, I want to print the value of A. So it prints 10. Now again it goes to your for loop. 10 is extracted. So it won't go 10. Now AR of 2, AR of 1. So it picks 20 and it stores into the variable called A. Now A contains 20. It will enter into the for loop. Okay, SOP is A. So it prints 20. Now again it will go back. Now AR of which variable it is going to pick? AR is going to pick which index value now? AR is going to pick which index value?
2, sir.
2. What is the content which is present in the 2?
30.
30. So it will pick the value from AR reference variable and it stores into the local variable. Now it will enter into the for loop. SOP of A. SOP of A contains variable called 30. So I'm going to print the value 30. Now still it checks, okay, still I have my variables to work on it. So again it will go back to this form. Now you say me, which index value is going to pick now? Yashas, can you answer which value is going to be picked now?
30.
30 is done.
40 is.
Then 40. So AR will be going to pick a 40. It will place into this variable called A. Now it will go and print on 40. Okay. Now, which variable it is going to be picked? Trupti? Which index value we are going to pick now?
4, sir.
AR of 4, which is of what value which contains in index 4?
50.
50. So now AR is going to be pick 50 and where it places, in which variable it stores the value?
A.
A. A. So now again it will comes to here and it prints SOP in the sense system.out.println. I'm going to print the value 50. Same it continues. Now Suman, can you say me which value I'm going to pick?
Sir, 60.
60. In which variable I'm going to store once I've picked from the index? In which variable I'll store the value? See, I have picked your 60 and I have kept here. From AR to which variable I'll shift the value?
Sir, A.
A. So now from 60 to A, I'll store it here 60. Now it will get into the loop system.out.println. In the sense A value is 60, it prints on the console and it will go back to the loop. Now, do we have any value to perform the operation? Do we have any value to perform the operation? Yes or no? Do we have any value to perform the operation?
No, sir.
So what it is going to be happen, your execution stops here and it will come out of the for loop and it starts remaining statements execution. Okay. Now from which version, JDK version it is active, in the sense it is activated from JDK 1.5. In the sense from JDK 1.5 it has introduced a new looping system which is known as for each loop. For each loop. Okay. Next, it is very easily we can accessible the values for data type, local variable for this for, and array name. Is it clear for everyone? Is it clear for everyone? Yes or no? Okay, now I'm going to give a task for you people. Now you have to store the values in an array and you have to perform the summation operation. Like you have to extract the value from an array and you have to add to the previous value. Like how, in the sense, sum is equal to sum plus I. You have to perform. Just write a code and put it in the chat box. If anyone are working, kindly raise your hand and you start working so that I'll get to know how many people are working. Kindly raise a hand and then start working on it so that I'll get to know how many people are working. Once again, I'm repeating the problem statement. Store some values, like around 5 values, into an array. Extract the values and perform the summation operation to that. Yesh Kumar, it's correct. Only 2 people have raised the hands. What about the others? Suman, are you working?
Yes, sir, trying.
Rakshita,
Sir.
are you working?
No, sir. Actually, my Eclipse is not opening.
Okay, just you can write a code and you can send it. It's not a problem that you have to
Yes,
write
sir.
an exact. You can write a code and you can post it on the chat box. Ranjit, are you working on it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's correct. Suman?
Yes, sir.
This is a declaration and initialization of array. Now I want to extract each value and I have to perform the operation. So what I'll do, for int b colon a. So for every time it picks a value from the array and it stores into the local variable b and it will perform, starts operating. So I'll create here int sum is equal to 0. So here I'll perform sum is equal to sum plus b. Give semicolon. That's it. Now here we can print the value. System dot out dot print ln summation, the sum of array is plus sum. Get semicolon. That's it. Save it and run the code. Now you're going to get the sum of array is 150. You can check it out. 50 plus 50, 20 plus 30, 50, 50, 100, 10 plus 40, it is 50, 100 plus 50 is 150. Now we got it, the values. Yes, everyone have understood about this? Arrays?
Yes, sir.
For each loop, how to write a for each loop, everyone have understood? Is it clear for everyone? Yes, Rakshita, it's correct. Okay. now I'm moving to the next topic with typecasting. Can anyone say what do you mean by typecasting? Typecasting is nothing but, suppose we have one value is assigned to the one variable of one data type. We are converting that data type value to the another data type, which is known as typecasting. Like example, if you have a data type called int of a, which is of 500. Now I want to convert this int data type value to float data type value. For that, we are going to call it as an typecasting. Can anyone say that if I convert this 500 to float, what is the value of your float now? Int a is equal to 500. Now I want to convert this int value to the float. Now can anyone say me if I convert this integer value 500 to the float, what will be the value?
500.00.
Yes, 500.0. This is how we need to convert. For that, we are going to call it as an typecasting, converting of one type of value to one data type value to the another type, which is known as typecasting. Okay, this typecasting has been classified into two types. One is widening casting, like example, int and double, which is the greater one? Int and double, which is the greater one?
Double.
Double has a larger data size. So it is widening, in the sense int will be moving to the double. That is what we are going to call it as an widening casting. For that, we are going to call it as an implicit. Second, narrow casting, explicit, in the sense from double to int, from double to byte, we can casting. Okay, now we will see widening casting, in the sense implicit casting. See, byte value can be converted to the short, int, long, float, double, or short value can be converted to int, long, float, and double. Like this, in the sense if you're converting the shorter data type value into your longer data type, which we are going to call it as an widening casting. Okay, is it clear for everyone what do you mean by widening casting? Yes? Yes or no? Next, narrowing casting. Narrowing casting in the sense converting the larger data type value into the smaller data type value. See, double can be converted into float, long, int, short, and byte. That can be value into that double value can be converted into this particular data types. Okay, now can anyone say me long value can be converted into the double data type? What is what type of conversion it is? What type of conversion it is? See, when I'm converting long to the double, what type of conversion it is? Widening conversion. Yes, exactly, it is widening conversion. Now we will see how to convert these values. First, we will come up with the implicit type conversion, which is widening conversion. For widening conversion, we need not to make use of any much more things. I'll show the example here. First, int I is equal to 100. Next, long L is equal to I. In the sense, when you're widening your data from integer to long, directly you can assign your smaller data type variable to your larger data type variable. Okay, where int is of smaller data type, whereas long it is larger in the size. So we can easily I can assign the integer variable to long variable. We can easily assign like this. Okay, at that time your value will be converted into your long. You can convert like this: float f is equal to L. Or else directly you can make use of, rather than this, you can also make use of float f is equal to, I can make use of I also. Okay, now I'll show the example for this. Naive class typecastings main method, I'll create finished. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'm going to declare int I is equal to 500. Now I want to convert this int I to your longer type, longer data type, like example compared to int, long, float, double. So what I'll do, I want to convert this integer I value to float value. So float f is equal to I will assign, and I'll give a semicolon. Now what I'll do, I'll print system.out.println. I'll write typecasting from int to float is equal to plus f, I will write it, and I'll give semicolon. Save your code and run the code. Now you can check it out. 500.0. Actually your value was 500. You're putting into a typecasting. So now you have stored your 500 into your float data type. So you have got 500.0. Okay. Now I'll be moving to your explicit type conversion. What I want to do in the sense here, explicitly I am going to specify in what data type you have to convert. Suppose from double to integer you want to convert, from double to float you want to convert, from double to long you want to convert. That you have to specify explicitly from which data type to which data type you have to convert. See, I have double D is equal to 100.123. Now this double data type should be converted to your integer data type. So I'll specify long L is equal to long L of D. Or I want to convert from int I is equal to, oh sorry, it is wrong here. What I'll do, int I is equal to int of D, I will write it. Now can anyone say me, if I print SOP of I, what is the value it is going to be printed on the console?
100.
Just 100 will be printing on your console. Yes, exactly, it is a correct answer. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll declare another one variable of float or double. I'll create double D is equal to 1000.2345, give semicolon. Now I want to convert it into long. L is equal to, I want to convert this double to long. At that time, what should I do? I want to specifically specify that from which data type to which data type you have to convert. So it is already in the double. So now I want to convert to the long. So I'm converting into the long. Now I'm specifying the D. Double data type should be converted into the long. So now what I'm going to do, I'll write it system.out.println typecasting from double to long. Double to long equal to plus what value, I mean, what is a variable I want to specify here? What is a variable I want to specify? D or L?
L, sir.
L, and give semicolon. Now execute. Here there is an error, give a semicolon. Save your code and execute it now. Now you can check it out. Your value will be 100. Why? Because it isn't long, it stores a long number, so it removes your decimal value and it stores your only whole numbers. Is it clear for everyone how the typecasting should be done? Yes or no? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now moving to your operators. We have different types of operators. We have arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical assignment, increment and decrement, and conditional operators. Now we will see one by one. Arithmetic operators. We have like plus, minus, multiplication, division, and mod. Okay. Using this, we can perform any operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and mod. To perform this, must and should, we need to have two operands. Two operands. Okay. Now, can anyone check that in the second part, I have written a different value, which is equal to D is equal to D minus A. This can be written in the form of D minus, D equal to minus E. Is it clear? Okay. Now my problem statement is you have to take two inputs from the user. You have to perform arithmetic operations, all these 5 operations, and you have to display the solution. Take a task and perform the task and put it your solution in the chat box. Who are performing, please raise your hands. Who are performing, please raise your hands and then start. Is anyone are working on it? May I know anyone are working on it? Yes. May I know anyone who are working on it? It is just very simple. Create one class. You can take it as an arithmetic operators. Public static void main. Finish it. Here you have to declare two variables, one as num1 and num2. Before that, what I am going to declare, one scanner class I'll be declaring. Scanner s is equal to give scanner system dot in. I'll be specifying semicolon. So Control Shift O, we took scanner, and I got it. Okay, now what I'll do, I'm going to declare system dot out dot print ln. Enter the value for num1 colon gives semicolon. That's it. So now int num1 is equal to s dot next int gives semicolon. Sorry, it is already declared. Sorry. The same thing we have to perform for the number 2, system dot out dot print ln. Enter the value for num2 give semicolon. So num2 is equal to s dot next int give semicolon. Now I have to perform the arithmetic operations. So int sum is equal to num1 plus num2 give semicolon. Int subtraction is equal to num1 minus num2. Int multiplication is equal to num1 into num2 semicolon. Int division is equal to num1 divided by num2 semicolon. Now you have to print all these values, just that's it. System dot out dot print ln the addition of two numbers are colon gives semicolon plus you need to specify sum, that's give semicolon. Control C, Control V. Now you have to print subtraction of two numbers are. Just you have to specify subtraction here. That's it. Now you have to print for multiplication. So you remove the subtraction here. You just print multiplication of two numbers. Just you have to specify in which variable you have stored your multiplication result. So MUL you have to specify. Now the same thing you have to perform for your division. So if two numbers are you have stored in the division of two result is div variable. Now save your code, run your code. Now you are going to check in the console part. It is asking for the one number. So I'll specify 20. Here I'll specify 20. Now it is asking for the second number. I'll specify 10. Now you can check it out. Your value will be addition 20 plus 10, 30. 20 minus 10 is 10. Multiplication 200 and it is 2. Is it clear for everyone how the arithmetic operators will work? Yes or no? Okay, fine. We'll wind up today here and we'll continue in the next class.